So today the video is about introducing concept of animation with After Effects. So essentially you can see from the Notion website here that the files are uploaded for you to use, and then at the end of the day you will create a video that looks kind of like this. This is very basic, right, where you will use opacity to control the fading in, and then movement using position, and finally to use tweening as well to control the speed in which the movement is made, so it will ease in towards the end. Okay, so now for this is the After Effects file, right? And these are all the assets. Like I said, it's all in the Notion website. So I'm going to go to new project now. Okay, so this is what you will see when you open up After Effects. So you click on new composition. You can name this whatever you want. So I'm just going to give it a new name now. And select under basic social media square 1080 by 1080, 30 frames per second. This will determine how many frames there are, and it will determine how smooth your animation is. You can change the background color. So like for me, I have clicked on this button here and adjusted the background color like so. Okay, you can change it to whatever color you want. And for now, we're going to just have it 10 seconds for the entire animation. Yours can be longer or yours can be shorter, but try not to go beyond 30 seconds because that's the average attention span of most people. So just click OK now. Okay, so this will be your new composition. So just to introduce you to the user interface, this is your workspace. On the left here, this is where you have your assets, which will be the images. Okay, these images you can export from Rhino or any other software that you have. And I also have included the Rhino and Grasshopper file to create this form here very quickly. Okay, just for reference. So what you want to do is you want to be able to introduce all of your assets. So I'm just going to change the type. Okay, so I need all of my images. So then you can just click on this and you drag and you drop here. Okay, so this is how you can introduce assets to your asset library here in After Effects. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with my first image. I can click here. You can either drag it to here or like so to the timeline here. Okay, and then I'm going to continue with the second image and the third image. Okay, so this is like Photoshop. This will appear above this. You can switch this off and you can see this below. Switch this off, then you'll see this other layer below. Okay, now what you see here on this other side, this purple color bar indicates how long it will be visible for. So say for example, if I were to left click and drag and say to go to like 2 seconds, okay, this is the animation scrubber where you can scrub to move along the timeline, or if you want to preview, you can use the keyboard shortcut spacebar. Okay, so now you will make this appear below, because after that this will disappear, it will not show. So I can also take this and go to this corner and adjust this to 4 seconds from now, like this. Okay, and then we can scrub through. This one goes here, and then this one goes here. Okay, so what if we want them to appear nicely, right? So what we should do is we have to also adjust this and also adjust this. Okay, so that when we use the opacity, the background two images here will not show when this image is trying to fade in. Okay, so if I try to fade in, you will have all of this background context coming in. Okay, so how do we do the fade in? So I can open this up. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to be able to fade this image in. So under opacity, this is 100%, right? So I'm going to move it to this scrubber here, and I'm going to click on this button here. Okay, when I click on this, this will make sure that this particular image is at 100% opacity at this particular keyframe. This diamond shape is to indicate that there is a keyframe now. If I scrub back over to here, I can go to the 100%, left click and drag towards the left and make it all the way to 0. Okay, and then now when I press spacebar, this will appear. Okay, and then it will have the next one, and then you have the next one. So you will notice this is slightly different from the end result that we saw earlier on, but that's okay, because essentially you are still learning the same concept of keyframes and opacity. Okay, so I have this fading in, and then I will have this coming through, right? But if this is here and then it comes here, this will be too what do you call it, abrupt. So I'm going to move this slider, shift it a bit to this manner here, and then now I'm going to go to here. Oops, I'll go to here instead. Open up this again, left click, go to opacity, and now I will keyframe this to be 100%, and then I go to here like so, and I'm gonna drag, and I won't put it to 0, I'll just put it to say 50%, and then now let's go back to here and let's test. Okay, so it fades in, okay. So maybe this particular portion now you can just scrap back to here, and let's try now to be lower, 28, spacebar. Okay, So this is okay, and we can repeat the same step over to here. Okay, so now let's try and see. Okay, face in, face this in, and then here. Okay, so what we can do now is, let's do this instead. So you have this, and then you turn this in, and then I want to take this from 100%. I can move this now. I go back to here, and at this particular portion I will now scrub it to 0. So you can see that it goes from 28 to 100, and then it will disappear and show the background behind. Okay, so now let's just try again. Yes. So I can increase this to go all the way to the 20th. So now just try again. Okay, so you may think that this is a bit too fast. So what we can do, similarly, we can always move this, and then let's try again. Okay, so this looks nice because you can have some overlapping animation. Okay, then how would we want to add motion to this? So I'm just going to collapse all this. Oops. Collapse this. So we have, these are the base animation here, and it goes all the way here. Now I want to take this file and pull it down, and you can place it right above here. You see, you can actually adjust whichever hierarchy you want, but I want to go over here. Okay, so now this will appear over all of these images. If I were to drag it behind, you won't see it because it's below all the other layers. So I'm gonna move it here, and I can go onto this canvas and shift it to, say, here. And you notice this purple timeline shows that it will be here all the way from the 0 frame to the 10-second frame. Okay, so I'm going to open the drag drop down again, transform, and instead of using opacity, I'm going to concentrate on position. Okay, and I want to start my animation when it's around, say, this mark, right? The 4th second, when the third image shows up. Okay. Oh, in fact, I would have it somewhere in the 6th second over here. Okay, so I will click on this position over here. So I want it to end up being over here. And then I will go back to my 4th second over here, and I will move this away. Do you notice that there is now this arrow, this line that orientates the motion? So you can adjust it just by left clicking on it until you like it. So I want to make it kind of parallel to this 9H over here, and it will automatically create the keyframe for you. Okay, so I can scrub back and I press spacebar. Okay, so quite decent. Okay, so but that doesn't look very natural, right? It's slowly moving. Okay, so what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to create an effect that's more natural, right? So kind of like an easing in effect. So you click on the diamond keyframe and then you right click and you go to keyframe assistant and you can click on easy ease or easy ease in or easy ease out. These are the keyboard shortcuts, right? So I'm just going to play with easy ease in now. When I click this, now you will see that there is a conversion of the diamond keyframe to be another sign over here. Now let's just see how it will look like. So press spacebar, and you can see that towards the end it slows down a little bit. Okay, you can further fine tune this. So say for example I go to here like so, and you can go to the graph editor on the left. So select this. This is how you can drag and make the easing different. So for example, I want to compress it. I can move it like that to the left. And then now let's just try again. Spacebar. So you can see here now it makes it faster. Okay. So go back, you can uncheck this graph editor. So this is up to the 5th second, right? So maybe now what we want to do is we're gonna pause up to the 6th second. So 1 second there's not much things going on. Then we will start with our next image, which is the right image here, RPNG. I will minimize this and then I'll drag and introduce this over to here. Okay, so same thing, I would want this to go over to maybe somewhere here now. Okay, right on top. Okay. And let's see, let's open this up to see. Okay, so this is correct. Okay, so at the 6th second is where it will end up away from somewhere else, but I want it to be at the 8th second where I will open this up and I will keyframe this to be at this final position. So I click on this, so then After Effects know that as of the 8th second this has to be at this particular position. I will scrub back to my 6th second over here, and then I will move this away like so, and now I can spacebar again to see. Okay, so it's moving in at a consistent speed. So now what I can do, instead of clicking on the last keyframe, I can click on the first keyframe and then keyframe assistant. I can now experiment with easy ease out instead. Okay, let's just try and see how this will pan out. Okay, so you notice that it's opposite of the motion just now. It'll be faster and then it becomes slower. Okay, so let's just press spacebar. Sorry, it will be slower and then it will accelerate again. Now, what we can do is similarly, you can go back to the timeline over here. Okay. and just check through. Okay, so this is okay. And now what we want to do is we want to try to export this as a MP4 file. Okay, so the shortcut is you can go to composition. Sorry, the long cut is to go to composition and click add to render queue, or otherwise you can press the keyboard shortcut Ctrl M. Okay, and this will appear. This is the render queue now. It will appear as another window tab over here. Always use the best settings. Okay, and then you can also choose where you want to output to. Okay. Okay, so wait, let me just save the file. Something is hanging. Okay, so sometimes